This is the Out of Step Reader with a short book talk on So Be It by Sarah Weeks. I want to apologize if you hear the background noise. We are going through the tail end of either a tropical storm or a hurricane. I'm not sure what it's classified as of this moment. I'm going to read the synopsis from the inside cover. Although she lives an unconventional lifestyle with her mentally disabled mother and their doting neighbor Bernadette, Heidi has a lucky streak that has a way of pointing her in the right direction. When a mysterious word in her mother's vocabulary begins to haunt her, Heidi's thirst for the truth leads her on a cross-country journey in search of the secrets of her past. I have seen this book advertised at every book fair that I've been to since I've been working in an elementary/middle school, and I have really wanted to read it. Last year, a couple of my students had said that they had read this book and really enjoyed it, and I believe a sequel came out, which I'm going to read shortly, called Sooth, S-O-O-F. And that word "sooth" is the word that Heidi is trying to figure out the meaning of in this book. And I really, really enjoyed the fact that this book is a middle grade fictional novel. It's for middle school students in terms of its accessibility, but it's not just for middle school students. High school students, college students, adults would really benefit, I feel, from reading this text. I think they would benefit from the characters. Having the three main characters, Heidi, her mother who is mentally challenged, and Bernadette, their neighbor who takes care of them. But Bernadette herself is also suffering with some mental illness. She's not able to leave her apartment because of a traumatic event that happened. And so the way these three women, well, one girl, two women, navigate life in the city of Reno, and then Heidi sets out on this cross-country trip, that was just really, really interesting. And it felt like some very deep issues were made accessible to a broader audience. I would actually like to read this text with middle school students, especially one thing that's kind of being talked about a little more in the education world is the concept of SEL, S-E-L, social emotional learning, and the way students who have been impacted by trauma relate to their educational environment. And I would really like to read this book with a couple of students that I've worked with who come from backgrounds that have experienced a lot of trauma and shakeup, and actually, unfortunately, where I live, that's a good majority of my students. I would like to see what they think of this text. And I also liked one of the recurring ideas in this text is that just because you want to know something doesn't mean that you're going to be able to figure it out. You might really, really want to know something. You might really, really be curious. You might search as hard as you can and still not find the reason or the answers that you're looking for. And I thought that was really brilliant to bring that out, because in another life, before I taught fifth grade English, I was a special education teacher. And in even another life before that, I was a paraprofessional for special needs students, severe and profound high school students, and students with multiple disabilities and terminal illnesses. And I think that my experience with that world, both with the students, with their families, and then with the broader world, was this notion that people wanted to know why the world was the way it was, why the unfairness, why their children experienced this, or why children at all experience some of these hardships. They wanted to know what the future held for them as they aged out of the system and into adulthood, and what life was going to be like for them. And sometimes, especially with severe students who were not able to express themselves, much like Heidi's mother, outside of a few short vocabulary words, and some of them didn't express themselves verbally at all, there was a question of, okay, well, what is it they're trying to say? What are they trying to express to us? Are they sick? Do they want to eat something? What do they want to eat? and trying to find a communication route. And sometimes you don't necessarily fully know what they were trying to say, and you don't fully know why the world is the way it is, and you don't understand why some people experience the cruelties of this world in a much more severe way than others. And I would really like to read this book with some of my students whom I've tutored and worked with to really learn how to analyze text and ask questions. And I would like to see what questions they have and how does this book resonate with them. I think reading this book is a powerful experience. I recommend it to all readers, and I especially recommend it for the questions that it will bring up in the minds of the reader. I don't think you'll get a lot of answers, but it's certainly a text which brings forth a lot of feelings. And I think sometimes that's the purpose of reading, to wake us up to our questions, to wake us up to our feelings, not necessarily to give us any answers. So Be It by Sarah Weeks.